on page 128 of your Sidurim, Mishkan Tefillah. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat shalom, hello and welcome. Thank you. I should have paused. That was my mistake. It's so wonderful for all of us to be together. That's what that psalm is really all about. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good and how pleasant, how wonderful, how miraculous it is for siblings, for friends, for all of us to sit together in this space. And so I want to welcome those of us who are regulars. There are many of you in this room. Those of us who haven't been here in a while, there are a few of you in this room. Those who are guests, those who are volunteers, those who are just bringing up their menorah. That's awesome. Thank you, Yael. And so we're going to begin. Don't go too far. We began with the singing of Hine Matov. We're going to continue our service on page 578 with the lighting of the Chanukiot. So here's the thing. I want to give you a rundown of how this is going to work, because there's going to be a lot of fire in a very small space. And that can be a recipe for a lot of things that aren't great. So what I want to do is I would love to get, if you're here with a person under B'nai Mitzvah age, that is under 13, if you could accompany that under 13-year-old to light the Chanukiah that you might have brought. If you didn't bring one, there are a couple of extras up here. But let's make sure that the people who brought their own, who really want to light their own, get that opportunity. So if you have a Chanukiah, I would love to invite you to come on up to get set up. We'll light them together. We're going to start by lighting one shamash. Tonight is night 3, which means we see 3 candles on one side. It'll be your right, my left, and 1 candle that's off by itself. That candle off by itself is called the shamash. It's the helper candle. Its job is to help light the other candles. So what I would love to do, Sarit, if you would do the honors of lighting your shamash, and if we could all pass down our shamashes. Some people are already on this without me, and that's great. Um, and once we all have a shamash lit, we'll light these Chanukiot together. There's one extra. Do you want to light one? Oh, there's another extra. We're figuring it out. Okay, I think we'll figure it out. Whether you're lighting or you're just supporting the lighting, you're basking in the glow of the lighting, the blessing can be found on page 578, and we'll say this blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim la'avoteinu v'imotenu b'yamim hahem b'zman hazeh. And when you've lit your Chanukiah, safely go back to your seats. I'm seeing a lot of cameras out, and that's awesome. That's totally fine. After we've taken our pictures, we're going to light the Shabbat candles. And then we'll put our devices away and just have Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. Right. I didn't tell you what page that was on. It was on 120. It's okay. We're now moving to 123 for Kiddush, the blessing over the wine and sanctifying this day of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzahanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon, inchilanu, zikaron lemase v'reishit, hihu yom techila, lemikrae kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. Moving forward in our service, we'll talk a little bit about it later, but Hanukkah is, in addition to being known as Hanukkah, also known as Chag Urim, the Festival of Lights. And so, in our little taste of Kabbalat Shabbat that we do each week, we're going to go to Or Zarua. Light is sown for the righteous, and joy for the upright of heart. These words can be found at the bottom of page 132, Or Zarua. Or Zarua lahatzadi, ule Yisrael simcha. 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 Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, ve'odu lezecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, ve'odu lezecher kodsho. Moving into Lecha Dodi, last week, Rabbi Goldstein, who I have not gotten word yet, but I believe has made his way to Israel at this point, Rabbi Goldstein talked about the Talmudic sage Rabbi Hanina, and how Rabbi Hanina is really integral to the tradition of Lecha Dodi. It's said that Rabbi Hanina, on Friday evenings, as the sun was setting, would run outside. He would wrap himself in a garment, and he would face west toward the slowly setting sun. And he would yell out, "Come, let us greet our Queen Shabbat." And so, with these words written by Shlomo Halevi Elkabetz, found on page 138 and 139. We greet Shabbat much in a similar way. At the last verse, we'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. I'll repeat that when we get there. When we reach that final verse, we will stand and face the entrance as though we are greeting a queen or a bride. And we'll do that. Please remain standing as we turn to page 146. This is our call to worship. Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu
Let's read together at the top of page 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Umavir yom umevin laila, umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai tzemaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamarim Aravim. Turning forward to page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. You may be seated as we turn to the next page for Ve'ahavta. Let's chant together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam livanecha vidibartam Vishivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvekumecha ukshartam leot aliadecha Vihayu letotavot bein einecha uchtavtam Al mezuzot beitecha uvish'arecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We're going to sing Michamocha on page 158, the Song of Freedom together. It is Hanukkah. Yay, Hanukkah. I haven't mentioned it in like a few minutes, but here's the thing. is that in Judaism, particularly in Jewish music, we have this thing called a nigun diyoma, a tune of the day. And so every holiday has a tune that goes with it, a traditional tune. For Passover, it's Adir Hu. For Hanukkah, it's Ma'oz Sur. So if you know it, awesome, you're gonna sing with me. If you don't know it, you're gonna sing with me. It's gonna be great. The Michamocha during the festival is always set to the Nigun Diyoma. So please join me, page 158, Michamocha. Thinking about this time of year when it gets dark very early and it's cold, I'm so touched not only to see our community here and all of the light that we bring, but also all of our guests and all of the volunteers who have volunteered their time to make this place a shelter, a sukkot shalom, a shelter of peace, a canopy of peace for those in need at this time. So if we turn to page 160, we have a prayer for nighttime, a prayer for lying down, that we may lie down in peace. Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ushmor tzedenu uvoenu. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ushmor tzedenu uvoenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, שלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכת שלום, עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים. We have reached the Amidah, the Tefillah, the center part of our service. So I invite you to rise on page 164. We will go rapidly in succession, 164 all the way through 170-ish. And if you get lost, that's okay. We'll come back together, I promise. Adonai Sevatai Tiftach Ufi Agim Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Yadadai, dai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, V'zocher chastei ahavot v'imahot, U'mevi gula livnei bneihem, L'ma'an shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshiach u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umito melech, Melech memit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nehemanat al hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. We're going to jump to page 178, Shalom Rav. there are some English words to this setting that can be found in your program, right at the bottom under the cook-off thing. I'll get to that later. But these words make of us a house for all people, gather us in hope for all people, surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. These words were inspired by the book of Isaiah, chapter 56, verse 7, Ki veti vet tefillah yikareh lechol ha'amim. My house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. So, let's join together. Make of us a house for all people, gather us in hope for all people, surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki Ata Melech Adon Le'chol HaShalom. Ki Ata Melech Adon Le'chol HaShalom. Le'chol HaShalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, בשלומך. Make of us a house for all people, gather us in hope for all people, surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Make of us a house for all people, gather us in hope for all people, surround us in peace for all people, in wholeness and in love. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. It has been our practice not only to pray for peace here, not only for us, not only for all of Israel, and not only for the whole world, but to specifically name the hostages who are still held in Gaza. And so one of the ways in which we've been doing this has been with a prayer that is not new. In fact, it's a very old prayer from our morning liturgy. This is a prayer that is traditionally said every morning, and yet for the last too many months, it has gained new significance, new meaning for us. On page 198, the third blessing down, you will find these words, Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who frees the captives. We'll sing through this blessing a few times. And as you catch on, I invite you to join in. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim, baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim, baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim. Moving away from our prayer books for just a little bit, one of the wonderful things about Judaism is that Judaism is not a solo sport. You need community, you need to be with people. One of the biggest examples of that, this teamwork thing is the concept of a minyan, the idea that there are certain blessings that you can only say if you are in the presence of community, if there are 10 people. And so in traditional neighborhoods, you might even be asked, hey, are you Jewish? We need a 10th for our minyan. Might be pulled into a minyan, which is a really complicated and confusing and in some ways controversial thing that we don't need to get into. All of that is to say Judaism can't exist without community. Sometimes it's community because we need to be held in moments of sadness, and sometimes it's community because the joys are sweeter when we share them. And so at this time in our service, we like to ask for joys in our community, particularly those God-given moments in our lives, those moments that make us look around and say, wow, that's awesome. So if you have a God-given moment or just something wonderful you'd like to share in this season of miracles, I would invite you to share that with us. If there's a birthday or an anniversary or a lost tooth, all of the things. For some of our people, that's a good thing. Yeah, anybody. Happy things we want to share. Yes, off-season.
Celebrated Zach turning
11th birthday. Happy birthday. Yes. And Yael has another one? Oh, and he's 11 and he lost a tooth. All right. I think you're getting a little too much of the good stuff. That's awesome. All right. 1 second. I'll get to you, I promise. Noah.
I just got back from a wonderful beach vacation in Mexico. Got to warm up a little bit and relax from an intense semester at school. So that was a lot of fun.
Coming home from school, getting to take a break, getting to spend a little time somewhere nice and warm. That's wonderful. Lindsay? Yeah. Yes, yes you did. Sorry. For those of you who don't know, because that was like a whole inside thing we just had over here, Lindsay is my fiance and has been away for the last several months on Fulbright in Jordan. She's going back, but she's here for now, so haha. So really, it's a good thing for me too, so that's why I'm sharing now. But it's wonderful to have you home. Yes?
That's hard to top.
I know. Sorry, that's why I didn't say. I was going to hold that one till the end, but
But we were able to get together with both sons and son's girlfriend in San Francisco. So it was a nice reunion.
Yeah, one son lives here in DC, and he came out.
nice.
So we all get together, to see each other.
Seeing family, that's wonderful. I love that. Yeah. Any more? Yes.
I just came back from my grandniece got married, and she married a Korean boy, and they had a vowing ceremony that engaged both sides of the family, and everybody became cousins. And it was this amazing group to have just a huge trip.
So not only a wedding, but a bringing together of cultures and peoples and families. That's wonderful. We love to hear it. Yes.
We're very happy and proud to be celebrating our oldest, who was accepted everywhere she applied for college, including her first choice, which
Nice.
is very, very exciting, and we're proud to say she can go to her first choice.
Nice. Mazal tov. Less of a God-given moment. I think we earned that, but
Very well earned.
very happy and a happy moment nonetheless. Yes, I skipped you earlier.
2 weeks ago, my granddaughter Miranda, who's 12, achieved getting her first degree black belt in Taekwondo.
Yes, I know, she brought it in. Sorry, I'm gonna repeat it because it's that good. Miranda is a black belt, and so I'm gonna step away. She brought in her black belt, and it was a very exciting day for all of us, mostly for her. But incredible achievement. We love all of these achievements. Yes.
I want to thank the church for inviting us in this group for the service and also for some place to stay.
All right. Having a place to stay, and we welcome you, and we're so happy that you're here. I want to just take a moment and thank our whole winter relief team. I know that there are a lot of people, some of whom are, I know this is a joint effort, and there are a lot of different people involved, and so I'm not going to name names because that gets me in trouble, but suffice to say, everyone who's volunteered, thank you so much for the work that you do. And to all of our guests who are here, thank you so much for being here and for joining us for this service. It's wonderful to have you. Thank you. All right. Yes.
This is a simple one.
Yeah.
But for a few weeks recently, I had a de novo issue, and I could not sit comfortably. And it felt so good to just be able to go back to sitting comfortably.
You know what? Sometimes it's the little things, and that's amazing. We love that. Amazing. So recovering from an injury or from pain of some kind, amazing. We love that. Yes.
So I have two.
Okay.
The first one is, well, it's exciting. I was able to celebrate Hanukkah earlier because I did it with friends in Israel. So that was very different. And that was earlier for me today. So that's the first joy. And then the second joy is this is the most amazing thing. Last week, a stray kitten found my son where he lives. He was watering his plants, and this kitten was just chasing him around outside and then into the garage and into the house. So surely he ended up adopting the kitty, and the kitten's name is Tiger. beautiful, beautiful. So grandma, of course, starts spoiling Tiger already. So Tiger already got stuff for Hanukkah that I sent in from Amazon.
I had no doubt. That is, so a new cat. Yes, that's wonderful. We love the cats. For all of these things, I want to, usually Rabbi Goldstein leads this part of the service, and he does a little thing where he has us every few happy things, we say, Ken Yehi together, so may it be. I want to lift up another piece of liturgy, which can be found on page 648. In this piece of liturgy is a blessing called Shehechianu, which you might know. Shehechianu, I specifically want to lift up because this is a festival, and we say Shehechianu at festivals because we are thanking God for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for bringing us to this particular time. Traditionally, this blessing is said after lighting the candles on the first night, but even though it's the third night, we have so many joys tonight that it's totally appropriate for us to all sing it together now. So let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Well, the joys are sweeter. The moments of sadness can be alleviated, can be brightened, can be a little less sad when we share them together. And so we also take a moment in our service to recognize that there are those in our communities or those we're thinking of who are in need of healing. So if there is somebody who you're thinking of, somebody who's in need of healing, of mind, of body, or of spirit, I invite you to share their name with us I invite you to share their name with us as my eyes meet yours.
Tara and Ava Maxwell Gray.
Shoshibine bat Esther, van Orenstein ben Esther, Rotten bat Maya Ayman. Riva Kelly.
Bobby Wendell.
Howard Portion. Ruth Cook, Ruth Einstein.
Anna Greenberg, Frank Dolinsky.
Philip C.
Stephen Levin.
Stephen Schnell.
Judith and Melissa.
Thank you.
Eden Romeo and Trinidad.
Thank you.
Jenna Horn.
Thank you. Anybody I missed? Thank you. We add to those names Allison Herman, Shlomo Dovid ben Nechama, Yirmiyahu Peretz ben Shoshana, Shoshana Rivka bat Zipporah, Dr. Zachary Mayer, Roni Mayer, Ilana Nutt, and Benjamin Snyder. Please join me. This is Misha Berach on page 371. take a moment for private prayer or reflection, and we'll come back together with Yihiu Leratzon on page 180 in just a moment. Leratzon imrevi, vehegyon libi. Yihiu leratzon imrevi, vehegyon libi lefanecha. Yihiu leratzon imrevi, vehegyon Son imrevi vehegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri v'kohali, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri v'kohali. What it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to and my Redeemer. So I want to take just a moment to tell you all about the Chanukiah and the lights that are dwindling before us. They were lit a little while ago. Some of them survived. Some are still going strong. Some burnt out a little while ago. The tradition of the Chanukiah, that is the Hanukkah menorah, comes from the miracle of light, wherein the Maccabees, the heroes of our Hanukkah story, retook the temple from the Assyrians. They found their menorah, and they found only one jar of oil that had not been desecrated. And this one jar of oil should have only lasted one day, but instead it lasted for 8 days. And so we light a Chanukiah to remember this miracle of light, this miracle of oil lasting longer than it was supposed to. It's a great story. It's a really great story. The thing is, it's not the only story of Hanukkah. And it's definitely not the original story of Hanukkah. The earliest story of Hanukkah we have comes from a book called First Maccabees. It's not included in Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible. It was excluded. And it was excluded for a bunch of reasons that we don't really have time to get into, nor do we need to. But in that telling of this Hanukkah story, the miracle of Hanukkah, the whole reason for this holiday, is not the oil, but is rather the rededication of the temple following the miraculous victory of the Maccabees, the Hasmoneans, over the Greeks. They were this small band of fighters who defeated this mighty army. And that's miraculous. That's a wonderful thing. The issue is that they weren't very nice people. The Maccabees are the heroes of the story. We've got songs about them. It's fun. It's fun to sing the songs about the Maccabees and Judah Maccabee and their stories. It's fun. But when we really read the stories, we learn that these men were not only warriors against the oppressors, the Assyrian oppressors, but they were also zealots. And they not only killed a lot of Assyrians, they killed a lot of Jews too. And yet they were victorious. They took over the temple. They became the priests of the temple. And so there's this conflict within Judaism because you have this history where the people who are in charge of the temple aren't people we really want to praise. They're not people we want to give all of the credit to. So what the rabbis do is they create this story about the oil. And it comes up in the Talmud. That's where it comes from. I say this not to diminish the story. Growing up, my favorite children's book author was a woman named Patricia Polacco, if you're familiar. Excellent children's books. If you're not familiar and you're in the market for children's books, Patricia Polacco, excellent books, including such hits as A Cat Named Tush. Excellent book. And Patricia Polacco has this saying. Whenever a kid asks her, "Is this a true story?" she says, "Of course it's a true story, but it might not have happened." It's kind of a cop-out, just a little bit, and yet there's so much truth to it. I love that idea, and it resonates so deeply with me. And I think for that reason, it's a true story, but it might not have happened. I resonate with the miracle of the oil. I resonate with this idea that in a time of darkness, in a time of destruction, of chaos, there should have only been enough oil, there should have only been enough light to get us through the next day. And yet we were able to hang on just a little bit longer. We had just a little bit more light. I think about the story that I was told when I toured Auschwitz, the concentration camp in Poland. There's this story, it might not have happened, but it's a true story nonetheless, of a boy and his father, a rabbi, who came through Auschwitz. And as the days grew colder, the rabbi grew thinner and weaker, and the boy became very concerned for his father. And so he tried to give his father some of his food, some of his meager rations that were allotted to him. His father said, "No, I have what I need." Until finally, one day, it was dark and cold. They were in the barracks. And the boy said, "I'm really worried about you." And the rabbi pulled up a floorboard and took out what would have been weeks' worth of margarine rations, what should have been sustaining him, feeding him for weeks. And the boy thought his father was crazy. He said, "How can you be starving yourself? I need you." And so the rabbi calmly took the margarine and he divided it into 9 little portions, and he lit his makeshift menorah, and he said the blessings. And the rabbi said to his son, "I can survive without food, but I cannot survive without faith. We need hope. We need light in our lives. And sometimes that means giving up what would otherwise sustain us, what might bring us comfort or joy. Sometimes it means bringing light to others. We need more light. One more thing. The Chanukias that we have, it's now the 3rd night, and we have the 1 candle in the middle, that's called the Shamash, and the 3 candles on the right side. That was not the only way to light the Chanukiah. There is an argument to be made, and this argument is made in the Talmud, that we should start not with 1 candle, but rather we should start with 8 candles. And every night we should remove 1 candle. Because the oil was dwindling each night, and so on the last night we had the least amount of oil, and so the light diminishes each week. That was Rabbi Shammai's opinion. And Shammai's great. We love Rabbi Shammai, but he's usually not the one we follow. We usually go with Rabbi Hillel. And Hillel said, no, no, no. We do not decrease our holiness. We increase. We bring more light into the world. I talked earlier when we were at Shalom Rav about that quote from Isaiah, "My house shall be a house of prayer for all people." Isaiah, great prophet, has some great quotes. Here's another one. "You shall be a light unto the nations." What does it mean for us to be a light unto the nations? What does it mean for us to bring light, to bring hope, to bring faith, warmth into the lives of others? So perhaps Hanukkah can remind us that even if we only have a little bit of oil, we can increase our light every night, every night. It is our duty, it is our job, it is what we are called upon to do. Chag Urim Sameach, happy festival of lights. We continue to expound on our duties, the things we are meant to do in the prayer. It's on us, Aleinu, at the bottom of page 586. Please rise when you are ready. Ushimo, Ushimo, Ushimo Echad. You may be seated. The tradition of mourners Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom, was first instituted in the Middle Ages following the Crusades, when there were a lot of people in need of extra support, a lot of people who were in periods of mourning. And so at the end of each service, they dedicated a prayer, a Kaddish, to the mourners, a time when those mourners could stand up and be recognized as ones who were in need of a little bit of extra support. So what we've recently started doing here is I'm going to read a list of names for whom, some who have passed recently, some for whom it is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing. If you are here in recognition of a recent passing or of a yahrzeit, I invite you to rise when the name of your loved one is spoken, and then so that you may be recognized by our community. And then we will rise in support of the mourners in our midst and say Kaddish together on page 598. So we mourn the recent passing in the last 30 days of Margaret Cook, Adele Bernstein, Marilyn Brown Cosin, Theda Bornstein. Our congregation also recognizes the yahrzeits of Robert Agranov, Selma Schwartz, Violet Cheskis, Lena Levin Eisenstein, Yocheved Flummenker, Martin Tillipman, Joan Probst Williams, Lois Kaplan, Harry Lindauer, Alberta Nichols, Mayor Shador, Diane Powis, Pat Rose, Daniel Stelzer, Marvin Mindell, Serene Ruth Gerson, Helene Steinberg Krasnow, Doris Packman, Elaine Loeb, Daniel Davis, Helene Brannick Anthony, Sylvia Ann Gordon, Albert Robert Gordon, and Herb Abelies. In the spirit of compassion and community, we now rise to support the mourners in our midst and join together on page 598. Yit Gadal V'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divarach Hirute V'yamlich Malchute B'chayechon Uvyomechon U'v'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala U'bizman Kariv V'yimru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah Bebarach Le'alam Ul'alamei Alamaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitale V'yitalal Shmei Kudesha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushpechata V'nechemata Damiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehe Shalama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. We are just about finished. We've just got a couple of things left to do, namely Hamotzi, the blessing over the bread, and our closing song, which will be Ma'oz Sur. But first, a couple of thank yous and a couple of announcements. Thank you to Jody Meisenberg for serving as our usher tonight. And thank you for Sarah Jane Dunaway and Jesse Silverman for sponsoring the ONEG light refreshments and chatting outside following the service. Couple of things to note. We made all of our matches for the annual appeal promise matched giving. So thank you so much to all who donated. We have raised $171,422. That's specific, and are so close to reaching our goal of $180,000. As the year comes to a close, your donation is tax deductible. So please do support Temple Beth Shalom. I read that. Never mind. There is no Torah study or Pirkei Avot. The Ancestors class on Monday or Tuesday, the 30th and 31st. Classes will resume on the 13th and 14th. The temple office is closed on Wednesday, January 1st. Pancake breakfast, woo, pancake breakfast, is Sunday, January 5th at 10 a.m. RSVP by Wednesday the 3rd. See the weekly email for the link to RSVP. The annual cook-off will be Saturday, January 11th. All details and links can be found in the weekly email. You must register by Wednesday the 8th. Learn to chant Torah. Hey, that's my thing. Chanting Torah is a really awesome skill to have. And if you can follow along in Hebrew, if you can follow along with the Ve'ahavta that we chanted earlier, then you too can learn to chant Torah. So if you would like to learn to chant Torah, you can find my email on some flyers outside, and in the weekly email, we're going to have 3 classes. All of them are together. This isn't 3 separate things. Starting January 5th at 12:30, Sunday, January 5th at 12:30. Please email me so I know how many copies of things to make. And for all additional events and programs, please see the weekly email for more upcoming programs and events. If you are not on the Temple's weekly email list, then please email the Temple office at info@annapolistemple.org. Announcements. All right, let's go over to some motzi. We have a lovely challah. What a beautiful challah. Thank you. And let's say hamotzi together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz Shabbat Shalom. Lindsay, come take this challah from me and take the ceremonial, bite or whatever. Because I can't, because I have to sing a thing right now. Thank you. Okay. And for our closing song for the evening, Ma'oz Sur can be found on page 669. Yeah. Ma'oz Sur Yeshuati Lechana Elishavea Tikkun Beis Tefilati Visham Toda Nizavea Le'etahin Matzvea Nitzar Hamnavea Azegor Vishir Mizmor Kanu Kata Mizvea Please do remember to take your padukia if you brought one. Then leave it. Oh yeah, we met singing together. We met in college during the opera program. We're creating liberal arts but I'm sure if you spell it wrong, Google will tell you because there can only be so many Polacos in the world. But excellent. Like the American Jewish for I think a couple of them have Jewish content, but it's not like Jewish books. It's like standard children's it's a true story, but it might not have happened. Whenever like a kid gets in religious school, we're like, it's not a true story. It's a true story. It might not happen. Like, it might not happen, but it's a true story. I don't know what you want from me.
That's exactly what you do. You can sign it. Just went on Amazon, looked up different books.
I don't know. She does really beautiful, and she does her own illustrations. Really phenomenal. Phenomenal enough that like, I can ask to rent a book of hers in like 4th grade and I still think it's I'm so excited about this. You went. I know some cats love that, but but she would love it too.
You don't have to sing it.
Hey, I'm gonna get guys staying in the shelter, but thank you for your words. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you so much. What's her name?
Tom Jackson. I'm a musician. I went to school of music, and I used to sing in a synagogue choir. And it was a much more conservative synagogue. We were behind the screen and all that kind of stuff. You know, but so I appreciate that you guys had the transliterations there, so I could actually sing along. My Hebrew's not that great. Is there no organ, or you just I see the piano?
We don't have an organ. We have a piano over there, and there's an electric keyboard that has has, you know, an organ setting.
Right.
But use that. I mean, what I just did was pretty standard for our kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's very like folky, everybody in a cool type of thing.
Well, and hey, and you're very good at it. 'Cause I play the piano, but can I go play just a little bit?
Yeah, to see, like, to come home to see Gabe
Okay,
and
just
our
quick
families,
second.
that is the
Oh,
most
I'm in charge. Oh, you're in charge. I'm not.
Yes, quick second. I'm not going to time you.
Hey, well,
But there's second.
Oh, so cute.
settling in and moving
And then
on and
engaging
seeing
myself
people
with
get there for the first time.
Yeah,
She comes
that's
back
like
at the
water.
end. But
Yeah.
to go
Yeah,
back
and they
and
were
do
able to
international travel or go home
They,
for
they
holidays,
actually were
that's
able to jam dance.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of times.
We decided because we're gonna have two trips and one of them are gonna come home. And then one of them needs
No,
to
that my son said he did.
where is he? Jamaica?
No, he's in Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
CJ
That was after the game as well.
she's been fantastic. So I haven't seen her, although she was
I mean, for Captain Chase and that. Yes.
Love that.
I said, how do we get the cat and put it in his arms and take him to the vet just to check it out? And look at it, it's very nice. Yeah. So the cat found it.
CJ
So
just does
at first I was like, but
yeah.
then I was like, yeah.
It's a true story. So angry. It's true. Except for one. Right. It's a very silly story.
Since you're going back out this.
Yeah, that was interesting, that story. I wanted to know about that. That was interesting.
So in the temple, there was a menorah that had 7 branches.
Okay.
And it was, it's, thank you. Thank you so much.
That was beautiful.
It had 7 branches, so this has 9 branches.
Right, right.
And so just like take off one, and you got, actually right up there, you can see kind of a representation of what it said. And it's described in the Torah, in the Bible, half this, like, this 7 branch length. And so this was like a very important thing. And so the story is that the temple was desecrated. Either destroyed it or set it on fire, and that somehow the menorah survived, and one jar of oil,
I've done church music ministry too.
and it was enough oil to last for one day, but miraculously it lasted for 8 days. And so 8 days.
Oh, I know, Kwanzaa has 7 days.
Yeah, it's a different thing, but
Yeah.
days of fools kind of over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said it's a similarity, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's definitely.
yeah.
And I think one of your candles didn't do so.
Don't blame you.
I realized you were going to say the last thing. And so then I was like, Steve, walking away. You did.
Okay, great.
I wish I had said it. I think it just looks sweet.
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
I can see like.
And that's not bad.
Lovely to meet you again.
Great to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Be well.
Thank you so much. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Did you enjoy?
I did. And I learned a lot.
But there's
those two are ours. I think at least one of them is Miranda's.
I know this is for the temple, that's what I know.
Yeah, I think these two are the temples.
And this one was the next, right? I don't know where that one came from.
Well-
That one over.
Meisner's.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So that's gotta be one of their kids mixed it up.
Yeah.
I'm, well, we can like say a reminder in the
Yeah.
Ona group
Yeah, and like, it'll be fine, not to worry about
as
it.
everybody starts to.
None of the cameras are, we can go out with them.
Yeah, I got to like,
Am I crazy or did we skip Mosey?
Did I say Motzi?
I thought that he was going to
Did I say Motzi?
no.
No, I didn't.
You
Oops.
skipped it, and I was like, wait, am I supposed to
I
say
got distracted by a bumblebee. That was my bad.
That's what happens when your honey is home. She just look at her, she gets you distracted.
You distracted
I
me.
should've just like,
You batted your eyelashes and I got distracted.
Keep batting it, keep batting it.
It'll make services much shorter.
Okay, have fun. Enjoy the rest of your Hanukkah, enjoy the rest of your time. And you go home and be with us.
Yes.
But you're gonna go
Yes,
visit.
and Noah's gonna be here for
Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah.
for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And by Sunday, you come in.
Noah's also gonna be on next week with me
Yeah.
because for fun. But also Noah's gonna be on with
Oh my gosh, I've forgotten who